look, don't forget that the psychiatric industry has defined another disease as oppositional defiance disorder, ODD. So if you disagree with the globalist agenda, you now have a disease. What do you think about that? I think you might be diagnosed with that. What's your take, Ralph?
Well, I think there's a concerted effort to really ruin the psyche of all Americans, and to whose benefit? You know, I think there's a lack of awareness, but you guys are doing a great job. Maybe you guys could recommend some books on holistic health.
Sure, yeah. Well, I like Elson Haas as an author. He's got some great books out there, HAAS. You could also study the DSM-4, the Psychiatric Bible. That would give you more. I say that in jest. Robert, what do you recommend as a good overall book?
That's a horrific read. I think from a wake-up call perspective, I always come back to our good friend Dr. Carolyn Dean and her books, particularly the one, Death by Modern Medicine, because when you realize the Holocaust that is in place due to FDA-sanctioned, government-sanctioned, licensed, and monopolized drugs, that's a big step to say, all right, instead of reaching for the medicine cabinet, instead of going to the doctor, including the pediatricians, the children's doctors, it's a horrific thing. If you think about it, these doctors, all they do are drug and inject children. I mean, it should be, I'm not into banning professions, but the way they behave, I would almost say we could get rid of pediatricians and we'd have much healthier children at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is take your child to a conventional pediatrician, because if they diagnose your child with cancer, which a lot of times is a false positive, and if you don't subject your child to that chemotherapy, they will have you arrested and your child taken away by CPS. We've reported on it multiple times.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, caller, for your call. Very, very good points. Robert, let's get the third item on your list. Otherwise, we're never going to finish our list here today. What do you got? Number 3.
Well, I mentioned the Raw Milk Freedom Riders. I just want to say, the farmers and the fellow healers out there that are standing basically up for their right to bring the healing that's necessary, even though it's not approved by government. Those that are, basically saying, here I am, come and get me. I'm not, encouraging people to go get arrested, but at the same point in time, they can't arrest everybody. So I'm still waiting to where I could say I'm grateful for the dietary supplement industry, because until they stand up, all of them en masse together, and say, here we are, we're doing what is right, we are not harming anybody, you have no authority to come and make us do the things you're trying to make us do to destroy our industry and the good products that we're providing. But having said that, it's the farmers out there that are going to be teaching all of us that have not been in that farm community to grow our own food again. I mean, that's the gratitude coming out. That's the Thanksgiving I have, and I have the message for them that please be vocal, outspoken, stand up, and begin to offer your skills to others, because we desperately need that out there.
Well said, Robert. You must be reading my mind yet again. I have a related item. The third item on my list to be thankful for this Thanksgiving Day is none other than dirt. Yes, dirt and soil, without which we would have no civilization on our planet. Soils are eroding and disappearing at a record pace. The food supply is going to be threatened. And I am currently on a ranch near Austin that has dirt. In fact, before coming on the show today, I was on a John Deere tractor. And sometimes after the show, people say, hey, Mike, how do you make your skin look so good on camera? Do you have a makeup artist? No, it's a thin layer of grime and clay from the dirt on the ranch, makeup by John Deere. That's what I got going on here. But truly, without dirt, we wouldn't have anything in our... And where does dirt come from? Where does dirt come from? Ultimately, we got to thank the Creator. We got to thank Mother Nature. We got to thank God. We got to thank the higher powers as well. But I know our list is focused on more of the mundane things. Robert, you okay? If we take another call?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a good time with you, as always.
All right. Janice from Texas, thank you for holding, and you are on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Robert. Things to be thankful for. I'm thankful for guys like you who teach self-empowerment and not dependence of Big Pharma. I mean, because that's all they do is teach dependence. But I'm calling about another issue, and I tried to call you another time about it. It ties into the farm tractor regulations.
Yeah.
I just wanted to concur with Alex and Jesse Ventura when they keep saying this is like the East German Stasi model. And I will say, I have seen that up close and personal, and I'll make this quick. In 1982, I took 21 years old, by myself, took a night train from London to Berlin, to West Berlin to do a show. I had missed the flight, whatever. So I had to go by train. And as soon as we crossed over into East Berlin to get to West Berlin, I was in the carriage by myself, and 2 armed Stasi officers come in and demand my ticket. And I said, "Who are you? Where's the train conductor?" And they got mad and started yelling, and I handed them my ticket, and they wanted my passport, and I said, "I've already been cleared through German customs," or whatever. They grabbed my passport, they saw it was an American passport, and went crazy.
Wow.
Just crazy, yelling at me, and they went and got 4 other guards. So I was surrounded by 6 guards at that time who questioned me, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "I'm in a band. All I do is play music. I'm not, I'm really nobody. Don't even, whatever."
Maybe you have illegal wood in your guitar.
Well, it was this is pre 1982.
Yeah, right.
Would I ever think that I would see that in my country? No. But anyway, I said, "Look, I'm just, the Beatles play Hamburg. That's, the Germans love rock and roll, whatever."
Sure. Yeah.
Well, that was the wrong thing to say, because the one who spoke English drew on me and said, "Stand up." I could feel the gunmetal on my
drew his firearm on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my head, point blank range. I mean, I could feel the barrel of the rifle. And he marched me down to the livestock carriage, which also had people.
Let me ask you, Janice, though, a very frightening story, but has anything like this happened to you in the United States recently then?
Well, my point about that is that I would like to just shout out to all I want to see armed guards on all public transport to keep us safe. Well, when they've got a rifle at their head, how safe are they going to feel? Does it have to get to that level that, when they see the tyranny, when they feel the rifle, then they go, "All right, "Oh, I get it. Maybe this isn't a good idea."
Thank you, Janice, for your call. But look, we do not espouse violence here as a way to resolve these issues. I sense your anger, Janice, in your description there, the fear, the terror that they tried to instill in you at that moment. And we just got to be real careful. We do not, shooting back is not the way for us to solve this. It's not the revolution that we want. We want a peaceful revolution. We want the Ron Paul revolution. Mm-hmm. What do you say, Robert, to that?
Well, Janice's story is very profound, and I hear this from those that have immigrated to the United States from Eastern Europe. We have a lot of listeners that have, and they, when I talk to them about what's happened here in America, and they're just so saddened. Sometimes they're angry, but more often they're sad. They just don't understand. It's like, what happened? You Americans, you were the land of liberty. You loved liberty, and now you're going the way of where we came from, why we wanted to come to America. And so I am grateful for those immigrants, because oftentimes we have basically been so indoctrinated over generations now that we can't see what has happened in the context of the boiling of the frog slowly enough that we don't jump out. So to have those warning signs, those harbors, people with experience like Janice to actually say, "Hey, that does not make you safe." Of course, these are the things where we talked earlier about the suffering. Does America need to suffer a total economic collapse in order for us to embrace liberty again? Instead of totalitarianism and dictatorship and tyranny. Sometimes it takes that brutality. People with cancer or AIDS or very serious issues, before they come to someone like me as a homeopath, they'll often have gone through so much before they're willing to change their diet or lifestyle. Some of them will choose to die rather than change, and that's part of the equation. Well, we find out who's ready.
But that's what's interesting. It's also true about nations. Just as people have to suffer through a health crisis before they awaken to the reality that they got to take care of their bodies and they got to follow rules, and protect the rights, the safety of their own internal organs. Nations do the same thing, don't they? Where nations, sometimes they become complacent and apathetic, and then they lose their freedoms, and then the tyranny comes in, and then they awaken and realize, oh my goodness, maybe we should not have let go of that Fourth Amendment right, or that First or Second Amendment right. It seems like America is in that patient crisis, to use the medical metaphor, right now.
Yeah, and that was the brilliance of Ron Paul in a debate yesterday, where he said, "Don't be so callously, unwilling to give up like Newt Gingrich is, to say we want a camera and a cop in every house so we can prevent wife beating or whatever." Oh yeah, we don't want another Timothy McVeigh. Who does? But at the same point, do you sacrifice everything that we fought the revolution for in America to say that we can be safe? I mean, this is where Gingrich is amazing to me. I mean, everybody says he's so intelligent. I mean, how intelligent do you have to be to forget history so efficiently as he has forgotten history?
Well, you can have a high IQ and be completely unwise. I've seen that in academic circles. These people are experts in one area, but they're total morons when it comes to reality and streetwise just knowing how to survive in the world and knowing basic fundamental laws and basic rights. That's where it seems like Newt Gingrich just falls flat on his face, which is very, very disturbing to see that he could be so intelligent and yet he has no wisdom. All right, well, Robert Scott is still with us there, sorry. We will be right back after this break. We're going to take another call. We're going to continue with our list of things to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving. So stay with us. A lot more ahead here on The Alex Jones Show. We'll be right back. We're back here on The Alex Jones Show. Thank you for joining us here on the InfoWars front lines. I'm Mike Adams, joined by Robert Scott Bell right now to finish out this show for you today. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And we've been talking about things that we are thankful for on this Thanksgiving. I wanted to mention the next item on my list. I'm thankful for the spirit of 1776. Yeah, that spirit that is part of the American fabric, the culture of questioning government, of asking these questions and then taking action as necessary to put government in its place to protect our freedoms rather than dominating over us as tyrants. I think the spirit of 1776 is very strong in this country and that we will prevail peacefully.
Yes.
That's the key question. Any comments on that, Robert, before we go to our caller?
It's in our DNA, absolutely, as Americans, and I found that to be, no slight to anybody else around the world. I don't come from ego when I say that, but there is something unique and special about the American Republic and its foundation and origin, and it's still alive. But then many people are afraid of it, even within America, because they have been, wussified. We've talked about the wussification of America. I'm not all that grateful for the wussies, but we're there to help them when they get, the courage back. Maybe they'll get some courage from you and others that are standing up as we bring out that, second American Revolution here that we're in the midst of, a peaceful one, as we say. Well,
as Dr. Lonky said, we are here to wake up their parasympathetic nervous systems, and for the TSA officers, we're here to wake up your unsympathetic nervous systems, too. All right, let's go to caller John in Ohio. You're on the air with Mike Adams and Robert Scott Bell. How you doing today?
Well, pretty good. I didn't call primarily to mention this, but I want to start out with it now after the last call. I happened to take a bus trip with Middle Americans through Western Europe. It included Western Berlin, and you have a one-day pass to go into East Berlin. I went there. I had absolutely no trouble. The people were well-dressed. I spent the entire day there eating sausages and seeing a fashion show downtown. I was even an hour late in getting out. They gave me no problem. They just made a call, and I went out across to the West Berlin side. So I think people ought to check out some of the lies we're told about history. I'd recommend just looking up on a search on a computer, lies concerning the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Because and also, I did want to mention that I have a feeling that if we don't question these big lie premises and just say, even though it's a lie that the American government is saintly and benevolently trying to protect us from terrorists when we know it's inside jobs, if we say, yes, we know these countries that the United States is devastating and attacking and slaughtering are really bad countries that are doing all the things that the CIA media tells us they're doing, we lose the argument. And I have that difference with Ron Paul. That's why I respect Paul Craig Roberts. He doesn't censor himself on that, and Webster Tarpley does not. He's been in these countries, and he tells us all the things we're being told about Iran and Syria right now are a pack of lies.
You're absolutely right, and I greatly admire Paul Craig Roberts as well. But, just about Ron Paul, he knows much more than what he talks about. But think about it. You can't go up on stage in front of the American people and tell them the whole truth when you're running for president. They're not ready for that yet. Maybe you can on InfoWars. You can tell people the whole truth, but not on stage in a presidential election. I appreciate your call, though. Some really good comments. I want to take time for the next caller, Dave in California. Dave, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm glad to be the final caller.
Yeah, real quick, Dave, 20 seconds.
Absolutely. As far as eating raw meat is concerned, I would go to your local Korean barbecue and order some UK. Think of like the British Isle.
Okay. Sorry, man, we're out of time. I want to thank everybody. Join us on InfoWars Nightly News tonight. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us.